Hello everyone, welcome back. We are already in 21st part of our RAP video series. In this video, we will learn about different read operation we can perform on particular business object, which is saved. We already saved some data in that particular business object in the database that I want to read back from the database. For doing the read operations for that particular business object, there are the three variants we can use for reading that particular business object. We can have read entity short form, read entity long form, read entity with the dynamic operation table. The read entity short form will work if you want to read for that particular BO single entity multiple instances. In our example, we have one BO called travel. We have the root entity as the travel, child as a booking, and that grandchild as a booking supplement. If I want to read any one of the entity, either travel, booking or booking supplement, one entity only. One entity's multiple instances means I can read together multiple travels, or I can read multiple booking together, or I can read multiple booking supplement together. In that case, I can use read entity short form, but I can read at a time only one entity, either travel, booking or booking supplement. Thus long form, if you want to read for that particular business object multiple entities together. For example, I want to read for this particular BO which we have created, not only I want to read the travel, along with the travel I want to read the booking and booking supplement as well in one statement itself. In that case, we can use the read entities long form. We can specify, we can read multiple entities, multiple instances for that particular BO. In that case, we will use the read entities long form. Third form is the read entity operations dynamic form. In the dynamic form, we will create one operation tab where we will specify which entity you want to read, from which business object you want to read, and what all are the conditions based on that you want to read. You can create that operation table. You can specify the multiple entries in that operation table. In that entries can be from the different business object, different CDS entities, multiple instances. So this is the advantage of read entities dynamic form. In that case, you will be reading not only single BO, you can read the multiple business object with multiple entities, multiple instances in one single read statement itself. That's enough about the theory. We will see all the things in our class. I have already created one basic class, nothing much, and there we will try to read our business object which we have created in my managed scenario, and we will see how we can perform this all kind of read operations. And after that, we will go for booking and booking supplement early numbering, because there we have to do some read operations. In the same way, in upcoming videos, when we perform the modify or some other operation, that I will explain those operations as well. So we will go with the flow as in the flow. So let's jump into the system. We will read our business object with these three variants. To understand the read operation, I have created one basic class. In SE24 you can create in GUI, but in the Eclipse you just have to right click on the classes, or you can right click on package and create class, ABAP new class, or right click on your package and new ABAP class. You can click and give the class name and description, and this skeleton come automatically. So I have already created this particular class, and I have declared one interface called if OOADT class run. This is the very important interface if you want to practice in the system. So this will display the result in your console. If you do F2 over this one, it have one method called man method, which I have already redefined from this particular interface. This man method have the importing parameter called out. We will use this importing parameter to write our result on the console. If you see this out method, in out method, if you go to this interface, we have already the write method. So write, we can say attribute. We can use this write to write our result to the console. So let's see how we can do. So first operation which we have to perform, read entity, means short form of the read business object. So you have to use I'm writing the comment short form read. So in this case, so you have to specify, you have to write the read, not raise, read entity. So you will get the help for entities, but I don't want to read, I just want to read the single entity, in this case read entity. You have to specify your entity. Suppose in this case I want to read only my travel entity. I know we have travel entity in my system for the travel business object. So I want to read this particular travel CDS entity. Once you specify the travel CDS entity, you have to pass the based on what condition you want to read and what all are the values you want back from this particular entities. Two things you have to pass. So for this there are different ways, different variants are there. First variant, we can pass one internal table. We can pass one table which will be useful to get the result back based on some condition and what values, where we can specify what values you want to get back and based on what conditions. So either I can declare some table and do, here I am doing on flow. You have to specify value and you have to specify hash. Since it is a table, I use two time bracket, and we have to specify the values here. The first value you can see, I want to specify the key. Based on the which key I want to read, I want to, based on the travel ID, I want to read this particular entity, and I can specify some travel ID. As of now I am not specifying. Once you specify this travel ID, you have to specify the two main important things. One is the result which you will get back from this read, and second, if something goes wrong, you have to get back the failed data. What was the reason I didn't get the result back. So I have to specify result. And one more important keyword, if you already not aware about the final, we can use this final data keyword also. I can use here data also. Let me use first data. In next statement I can specify final as well. So lt underscore result underscore sort, I can write SHORT. And second thing, I have to specify the failed data. If something goes wrong, failed data, I have to do again inline declaration lt result failed for sort. Like that I can specify, and I will get, this is my basic form of my read statement, you can say. Shift F1 I can do, and I can get the result based on my travel ID. So let's execute this one, what it is happening. Before that I have to pass some travel ID. So let me open this our CDS entity, or we can say entity called the behavior entity called the y underscore travel Techum. For that, this is the persistent table. I want to see some of the data which I want to read. You can do F8 or you can execute this one, F8. And let me read which we have recently created in my previous video, for example, which have multiple entities. For example, travel ID 4172, we have the multiple bookings also. It will be useful. Let me read the 4172. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 4172. I want to read this particular travel entity. Control F3. Let me do F8. No, sorry, let me do F9. Let me minimize this object explorer. I will do F9 over here. So you can see the result in the console. As of now I didn't get any result because I didn't write any result. So I have to write. Before that I have to check if something goes wrong. If this particular failed, Control V, is not initial, there is some value, then else, then what we have to do, we have to write something. We have out method, we can access the write for this, and we can write something. In importing parameter of this write method have some string we can pass, and we can display that string in console. So read fail, we can put read failed. And same way, if it is successful, then we have to display the result output. So you can use same out parameter out instance, and you can use write method, and you can see this is the all the para write method. We can pass the data. So I directly pass the data. I no need to pass this one everything, just I will pass the result tab. It will display automatically. Control V and delete it. So it will display the result. Let me do Shift F1 and Control F3. Let me do one more time F9. To display the result in the console, you have to do F9. So you can see the result. But the problem with this result, I can see only the key fields because I didn't specify that which field you want to read. If you don't specify here, then only you will get the key field. To specify the key fields, another fields, there is multiple ways are there. First, we can pass in this field table itself. We have the control structure, as I told you in my last video as well. So let me do that one. So we have control structure. So we have something called, if you do control space, you will get control space. We have control structure, which I want to pass that control structure with some value. So I want to pass, I will create again runtime this control structure, and I will pass the different value in this particular control string. Suppose I want to get the agency ID. So control space, enter, and we can pass in agency ID. We have one interface. If ABAP behave something is there, behave, okay. We have something called in this one MK, and this should be value should be on. For if you want to get this result back, by default everything is off. If you want to get this result, particular result, then it should be on. Let me little bit move this one here. Agency ID I want to display. Shift F1, and apart from agency ID, let me see the if I can display customer ID also. Control C, or let me do one thing. Let me do enter. Control V, enter. So let me Control C, customer ID also I want to display. Control V, Control Alt arrow down the button. Begin date also I want to display. Control C. Let me display as of now 3 field. I just want to display this 3 field. So in the control structure I am passing, I need this particular 3 fields. By default everything is off. If you see this value F2, so this is 0 1 value, and for the off you will see, I think it will be 0. If you do off F2, it is 0 0. So by default value is 0 0. You have to pass either 0 1, or you can use this particular interface to get this all the values. You don't want to declare the if you don't want to declare the variables, if this constant as a literals, you can pass this using this interface. You can pass the values. Let me do Control F3. Let me do F9. So this time not only we got the travel ID, we got the agency ID, we got the customer ID, and begin date. Other field will be blank. Let me increase little bit size, or let me do scroll. You can see other field is it is all are blank, but whatever I have requested, everything got filled. So like this also, let me decrease little bit this size, that where it will be, sir. Okay, now I can see. Okay, so I can decrease this size. This is the one form of this. Now same read statement I can write in different way as well. Let me write and show you. What I will do, I will comment it Control C, Control Shift less than, and this is the second form of the read, Control Z. Let me do enter, Control V. In this form, instead of specifying all the control field here, what I will do, delete, I will specify my control field here, fields, using the fields statement, like we will do in the ABAP. So like we will do in the ABAP, you can use the fields statement and you can pass the fields which you want to read. In this case, suppose I want to read only the customer ID, so I can do control space, and I want to read agency ID, control space, you can do enter, space, control space. I want to read the created 8, control space. I want to read the description. If something is there will be no description. Let me read some other values. Customer ID, customer ID. Like that I want to read these three values instead of that other values. But here field, you have to use different sentence with value. Instead of for value, you have to use the with value. This is very important for you guys, and this is the little syntax change. That's it. So what it will do basically, it will set this three field in control structure as a 0, 1. Whenever you specify these fields here, you no need to explicitly specify the control structure here. What it will do, whatever you have declared these three fields, it will implicitly, what it will do, this particular statement, it will in the control structure that it will make 1, and in that way you will be able to read with the based on this travel ID, this particular three fields. Let me do Control F3. Let me clear out my console. Let me do F9. So you can see this time I got agency ID, customer ID, and created 8, which is, I think it is not filled basically. Okay, let me go here and there, that will be better. Created 8, which is not available in the table itself. So that is the reason its initial value we got, otherwise created 8 is not there. So it's an initial value we have got. So you can see, but we got other values which is available in the table, agency ID and the customer ID. Created 8 is not available, that is the reason we didn't get. So this is the another variant of this particular read statement. In this one, we didn't we specified the what all are the fields you want to read. If I want to read all the fields, in that case I can, instead of specifying the fields, I can use all fields with already I have specified all fields with value travel ID equal to this one. Like that also you can specify, if you want to specify multiple travel ID. So since this is the work area, you can specify percentage key, another travel ID along with this travel ID. You can get the multiple instances as well. For example, I want to specify another travel as well along with this one, percentage key travel ID equal to, I want to, along with this, I want to read the 70 as well, 4170. Shift F1, Control F3. Let me clear out the console first and let me do F9. So this time you got from the single travel entity multiple instances. You got the 4172 also and 4170 also. Not only you can specify key field, you can specify the other field as well. You can read with the primary key as well, with key values as well, or secondary key as well. Before going to the longer form of the read statement, I just missed the one one variant of read by association. So in that, what you have to do, you have to pass read entity and you have to use by keyword and backward slash, and you have to pass your association name. So what it will do, instead of reading this particular travel instances, it will read for this particular travel ID, what all are the booking instances are there, that it will read. Let me do F9 and see the result. Let me do Control F3. Let me clear out the console and let me do the F9. So in this case, I got already 3 travel instances. I think for 4170 there is no data is available, but for 4172 we have 3 bookings, 10, 20 and 30, which we have created in my last video. If you want to see the data also, you can see for the booking instance we have to see, in this case we have to give yi booking supplement table, not in this class. Let me close this one, it is not required. Let me do F8 for this particular booking table, not booking supplement. I want to go to the booking table, persistent table booking, and you can do F8 and you can just sort it out in the descending order. You can see 4172 we have 3 entry, but 4170 we don't have any entry in our booking table. That is the reason we only got the 4172. If you want to get 4136, you can specify 4136 instead of that one, and you will get the multiple entities as well. Control F3 F8. In this case, for that particular travel instance, F9 we have to do. For that particular instance, for this particular travel ID, what all are the booking, multiple bookings are there, we can display like this. For this one, 4136 we have 2 bookings, and 4172 we have 3 bookings. Only we can get the associated entries, not the main entry. So like that we can read the entry with the association. This is the short form. Till now we have whatever we discussed. Now we will discuss about the longer form. Little bit difference is there, not much is there. So what you have to do, instead of read entity, you have to use the read entities of, and you have to specify here your business object name, or we can say your root entity name. YI, so in this case YI underscore travel taken, my root entity is there, and one by one entity I want to read. In this case, till now in my previous statement I just read one entity at a time. In this case I read this particular entity by association, and in previous case I just read this travel entity, or I can read booking entity single alone. But in this case I can specify multiple entities. Suppose I want to read the first entity, so you have to specify entity, and you have to specify the entity name of this particular YI control space I can do. Oh, in this case read entities of travel taken, not, you have to specify your root entity name here, and you can specify here your, suppose I want to read my travel taken only, first is a first statement, and same thing you can pass all fields here. I want to read all fields or some of the fields, and you can pass the value table. I will pass the same value table which I have already created. I don't want to create again and again. And same thing you have to pass this one, Control C result and Control V. So in this case value table I have to pass, I have to specify value keyword here with value, or you can write a new line also, all field with value, and this is already declared. So let me comment it out, this one, Control Shift less than, and I want to read this entity in this result. But what is the use of read entities of a statement? I can read the multiple entities. So I can specify this was my first entity, I got in this result, I got in this one. I want to read my second entity, so I have to write again entity and from the same BO. So you can see the help also coming from, suppose I want to read the booking taken as well, and I want to read all fields again, and I want to read with the value. Again I have to create the value table, and inline I will declare this value table, and you can do the control space key. For booking you have to specify 2 things. One is the travel ID, I want to specify 4172, Control C, and main important thing, you have to specify here not only your travel ID, you have to specify all the key fields. If you don't specify the booking ID, then wherever the booking ID is blank, those kind of entries are not available in database, it will not get any data from the database, and read will get failed. So basically make sure you have to specify your another key also. So let me do enter, percentage key I can write again. So this is percentage key, another key. What is the another key? Mine another key is booking ID. So booking ID, let me specify as a, I know already the 4172, this is the booking ID, Control C, let me specify this one. I want to read this from this booking entity, and you have to specify the result tab for each and every entity read. So in this case, in result data will go, I can declare the result data LT underscore result underscore booking, or here I can travel, I can specify travel. Same way I can read one more entity also, booking supplement also. You can try it out, just you have to write the one another entity here, entity, and you can write the booking supplement. You have to pass all 3 fields, key fields in that case. So that's how we can read. So let me execute this one and see that what we are getting the result. Shift F1. Before that I have to write the result, whatever we have got, Control C and Control V. Failed will be same, Control Shift greater than, and the result I have to display both the result. First I will display the travel result and Control Alt arrow down button, and I will display the booking result, Control V. Control F3. Let me clear out the console and let me do the F9. So you can see we got the travel entities with 4172 and 4136, and for 4172 I got the booking instance also. If you don't specify this one, then you will not able to get. Let me remove this key field. So let me remove this one, Control F3, and if I try to do F9 now, you can say read got failed, because with this travel and booking entity, booking ID is blank, there is no entry in the booking table. That is the reason this read got failed. We got the data in the read table. Let me debug and show you as well how it is working. So for that, let me do F9. I put breakpoint. Let me do F9. This time debug perspective will trigger. I'm not interested in this one, so let me decrease that little bit here. So I just want to show you how it will display. So let me do F9, F5. So you can see this is the entire one statement. So it got, if you see LT result book is blank because it got failed. In LT result fail, if you double click on LT failed sort is a deep structure. If you open further this one, which entity got failed? The booking entity got failed. You have to double click on this one. So you can see 4172 booking ID 00 is failed. And what is the reason for failed? You can go to the failed structure further down. You can go to the in this failed structure further down, cause is not found. You can see cause is not found. 404 we got the error. That particular instance is not available, so that is the reason we got entire read statement. Any one of the statement get failed, entire read statement get failed. Let me do F8. Let me switch to ABAP perspective. You can do Control F8, or you can just click on the ABAP and debug perspective to switch between the perspective. So this is how it got failed. So again, so that is the reason we have to pass the obviously the booking ID, then it will work again. In this way is we can read the multiple entities of same business object, multiple instances. So in this case you can see I read the multiple instances of travel, but for the booking I just read the same instance. But if you want to read the multiple instances also, you can read if it is required. You can read 20. For example, I just want to read the, instead of 10 I want to read the 20. Control F3. Let me do F9. So you can see it got successfully read, and this time it read the 42. If you want to read the multiple instances, since it is table, you can pass the multiple instances like we passed for the travel. This is the longer form of the read entities. Here we are specifying the multiple entities instead of specifying only single entity. Now we will discuss the last form of the read statement, that is the dynamic form. In that form we have to create the operational tab. So in that form what we have to do, we have to create one internal table it underscore that should be operational tab op underscore tab, which should be type of behavior ABP underscore BEH behavior BHV underscore. There is something called retrieval, I think so. Retrieval tab. So this should be type of that particular table, and along with that we have to declare to another table which we can send the data which we want to read. For example, in this case IT travel I want to read, that should be type table for, control space you can do type table for read operation, which is import it, which will import the result yi underscore travel. So these all are the, let me show you, give me 1 second. See travel taken. So if you see the type of, if you see F2 on this particular IT travel tab F2, you can see this will having the not only the key field, this is having the control ID. So using this we can read the data. So that is the reason this internal table, if I declare simple internal table, that will be not useful because we are reading the business object. So that is the reason we have to use type table for read operation which will import the data in this particular IT underscore travel. So we have to pass the data in the Y underscore importing, means it should be as a importing parameter to that particular IT operation tab. So that is the same way we have to get the result back also. So for that, IT underscore travel, we can result, that was the importing table we have to declare, which we have passed here. Simple, I have simply passed that inline, but in this case I would have declared like this also, and I would have passed this table here. But in this case I can do the inline declaration, but in the dynamic form I can't do the inline declaration. So that is the reason I have explicitly declared whatever I have passed here. Now that table, if you want to declare, you have to declare like this: type table for read import, means this is the importing table, and we have to define the result table also. So table result, that should be type table for read only, but this time instead of import it will be the result, and the table type should be same. I want to result in this one. So like that, you have to declare the internal table for this particular importing internal table and the result internal table if you want to declare the explicitly. To fill this particular tables, so first we have to fill this IT underscore travel this particular, which is type of Y underscore travel taken. As I told you, is it the same type which we are using this importing table? So I have to declare this table explicitly here, IT underscore travel, and we can fill this table using the value operator, and we can pass the same value we have passed initially, but here we have to pass the control structure as well, because if we don't pass the control structure, control C, then how the read statement, because we are passing dynamically, they get to know which all are the fields you want to return. So let me pass the stable fields. First field will be the key field, and second field will be the control shift greater than, and the closing bracket also let me in control shift greater than. In this case the first will be the key field, and control you can pass what all are the field you want to get, and like that you can prepare your IT underscore travel for the importing, or we call sometime IT field list, we can say, which all are the fields you want to get and which based on what condition you want to get. So in this case, let me fill the operation table. As of now, first time I'm reading only the one table, then I will read by association also same way in the same table. In this case I have to fill this IT underscore op tab with the value operator again, and you have to pass the first thing, you have to pass what operation you want to do. So that is the operation field, is that you can directly pass the R, or you can use this interface to get the operation values. We can say control space, you will do operation equal to, in this case I use operation, what operation are available, I want to do the read operation. So this value is R, or you can pass if you do F2 over here, you can get the value is R for read by association. If instead of read I can use read by association also, then we can use read BA, but that's fine. As of now I just want to read operation. I want to do what is your field table, or we can say importing table, based on that you want to read, or you have to pass first entity name. I have the entity name, so I can pass the entity name, that is why I travel TechM. Let me copy, control V, and you have to pass in capital, control shift X, and control space. You can see the instances means importing which instance you want to read. So you have to pass the reference of that particular table. You should not pass the table, instead of reference of this particular table which you have prepared. So instance of this you have to pass in this one as a reference, and you have to pass the result table where you want to get your final result. Control space you will do, then you will get again you have to get the reference back, and the result table you have already declared, IT underscore result tab is there, travel result. Like that you have prepared this particular result tab, you will get in this one what operation you want to do, which entity you want to do, what instance, based on what you want to read, and what is the result of this particular table. I'm getting one warning. What is that? The compatibility of this one is not guaranteed. Okay, operation is correct. I think this is correct only. You can pass directly R also, not an issue, but that's fine. And entity name, everything I have passed. Now you have to use the same statement, read entities of this particular using control operation tab you can pass. In this case, what we will do, read entities, I think we have operation here, operation, then we have to pass the operation table, and the result we have to get in the if it is failed, like that we have to pass result, read entities, and we have to pass the operation in operation tab dynamically. If it is failed, the same way we have to pass the failed result, failed data in this particular control C, control V, LT failed dynamic. What it is saying, operation was operations, not operation, operations, failed data in this one, and that's it. Shift F1, control F3, and we can write the same way we did previously, control C, control V, but this time we have to use this result table to display IT result table, and this is not required, control shift less than, because we have used the only one read statement. If it is failed means control C we have to use, control V. Above statement I will comment it out before this one, whatever we did, read entities with multiple. Let me explain again you guys. So what basically we did, we declared one table as a importing IT field list to tell that which table field you want to read. So for that, and based on what condition you want to read, that we have got this IT table which should be type table of read import, and result we got in this one. So this field we have to prepare this IT operational tab, which is dynamic table. Based on this dynamic table we are reading the entries. Here as of now I have passed the single entity, but if we can pass multiple entities also. Let me see the result with the single, then we will pass the multiple entities as well. So what I did here, control Z, control Y, one second, what I did, read failed, control C, control V, control F3. Let me do F9. Let me clear out the console, do the F9. So you can see we got the 4172 travel ID, we got the whatever the field we have requested. So in that way I don't have other codes are commented. Now I am getting with this particular dynamic table. So let me do little bit reduce the code lines so we can see properly. So you can see this is the delete I can perform. So you can see we have the what we did, delete and delete this one, species I will delete, so we can see everything together. So we declare these three tables, and now I want to perform, instead of reading the multiple entities I want to perform. So let me do the read along with the read by association as well. To do the read by association operation along with this particular read operations, again we have to declare two tables for the booking travel instance, and read by association for the importing and exporting. So for that I'm thinking, let me pass first this table YIT underscore booking, which should be type table for read import YI underscore read by association. So then I have to pass the association backward slash and booking, and the same way control alt arrow down button, let me do the, instead of import I have to pass the result table. So in this case also I have to fill this one IT underscore booking underscore result, I can put this one underscore result. So I have to fill this table, control C. This will be different because we are reading by association. So in this case value operator again I can use hash, and if you see this one, let me pass the control space key structure. If you see the key values, travel ID, again I want to pass the travel ID with this particular travel ID, control C, control V. But if you see here, the one thing, let me pass the control structure as well, percentage control space control equal to, again I have to create the value. And the thing is that whatever the field we are getting here for help for this is now from the booking entity, because we are reading by association. I would have used this one, but this is all the fields from the travel entity. So let me get some of the field. Booking date should be on, control C, or I can pass 01, control V. Let me do enter, and let me do one thing here, dot, let me pass enter here. Just for this also, let me do control alt arrow down button, booking date, okay, and the second field will be let me pass something else, booking date. Let me read 1 or 2, booking status, that will be fine, booking status. And booking ID also I can read, one more field, control space booking ID, control V, control C, and control V. So in this case, we have prepared the reading table, same way how we did for our travel instance, we did for the booking as well. Let me delete the unnecessary space, and I want to pass this table also, and I want to read this instance using this dynamic table. So I have to pass one more entry in this dynamic table, control C. Like we have passed for the travel, we have to pass for the booking as well. So in this case, or one more thing I did mistake, you have to pass read, and for the read by association you have to pass read by association, control space you will do. I did some mistake, I have to close this one, and control space you have to do read by association. Read BEA means read by association. In this case the travel is fine, but along with the entity name we have to pass something called operation is fine, sub name, that we have to pass booking underscore, control space you can do booking, not, you have to pass underscore booking. Control space will not work, it is constant value, so that is the reason. And instances IT underscore travel IT booking, I want to read the reference of this one, and control V, and result also will be IT underscore booking result, I think so. So I think that's enough, and I will this time not only print this also, control shift greater than, I will put the booking result also. So this is how you have to pass for the reading by association. Along with the travel you have to pass the booking as well, this name, and these two tables as usual we are passing. And for read by association you have to pass read by association operator. If you see what is the value, its a value is an, and for that was the value was R. For new normal read value was R. So like that you have to read, and the other things you no need to change, simply it will read by association. Let me do control F3, let me do F9, if how it is working, it's too much code I know. F9, so you can see it got read successfully. First it read the 4172 single instance. Now for 4172 what all are the travel entities are there, that got read. So I have selected only the booking date, booking status, and booking ID. I can say booking date, booking ID, and booking status also might have got. So you can say booking status is N currently. So like that we can read by that particular dynamic table. You can pass from the different business object also. Instead of passing this business object, you can pass some other business object, and you can read using this particular operation also. You have to pass the operation, and failed data you have to get the read in one entity, and something goes wrong you have to display the error message. You have to read this particular table. Like that, this we can perform this different kind of the read operation on the business object. Apart from these three read operations, we have some options in the read and the modify statement as well, like that in local mode and privilege. Whenever we use the in local mode, the additional is used to exclude the feature control and authorization check. So most of the time in local mode we will use within the business object. We have to, as of now, as per the rep, you can use this in local mode when you are accessing the same business object within the same BO. For example, in the behavior classes, we are calling the same business object for reading the same BO. In that case, we will use the in local mode because we already checked the authorization. We don't want to check the authorization again and again. So we will use in local mode. So in that way, it will avoid the authorization and the feature control also. Feature control will be useful in case of the modify statement. Suppose some of the features we have declared in the behavior definition, this field 1 and field 2 is the read only, but it is read only in the at the what we can say at the Fury screen. But when user takes some action, I want to modify those particular those particular fields. In that case, we will use in local mode. In that case, those feature control will be disabled and we can easily modify those read only field as well. So that there it will be useful in local mode. In another way, in the privileged means whenever we want to read without checking the authorization, when we can use simply read operations, read entities with privileged access, and then we can specify the entity name and all the things whatever we have learned today. We can do all the things. These are the two different variants are there which we can use, and in upcoming video we will see, I think, in local mode in real time when we do the our early numbering for booking and booking supplement. Now the video is again becoming longer, so we have completely learned today read operations, and I hope you learn this something new. I try to explain each and everything in detail. Before going to next video, please like this video, share this videos with others as well. Whatever you are thinking about this video, you can write it down in comment section. With that, thank you and happy learning.